What if I told you that all, not most, all of math is as funny as a man counting a single pencil, and that you being bad at it is her fault, and also Russia's. So here's how Russia made you unable to laugh at quadratic equations, and it all dates back to the Industrial Revolution. What's that? What do you mean it wasn't Russia? Okay, fine. Okay, so it wasn't Russia, it was P-Russia, which was basically Germany, but Prussia sounds more Russian, so I'm keeping it. Anyway, it's the 1800s. Europe is industrializing. Factories are the current thing. They were everywhere. And someone had a very practical problem. How do you turn a large number of humans into a reliable workforce that can understand orders and be literate enough to follow them? So, what the major companies decided would to be the best, most efficient method to produce factory workers was creating a school. The very school that we know today. They basically thought we could get a bunch of kids early on in life in a room, teach them to read instructions, follow a schedule, show up on time, and in just a few years, we'll have a large enough workforce that doesn't need to be trained from scratch individually. Notice how both schools and factories are structured. There's rows, there's bells, there's uniforms, matching uniforms, one person at the front deciding the pace for everyone, identical tasks, move when told, stop when told. And for that era, it worked. You could run 1,000 kids through a curriculum with almost no individual attention required and a negligible margin of error. Math, especially at the time, was thought to be perfect for that, because math has one right answer. You can grade 30 kids in 10 minutes, rank them, sort them, figure out who's useful and who isn't all before lunch. Other countries looked at Prussia at the time and saw this organized population with the functional workforce and the low cost per person, and they copied it.
It's cheaper.
And since no one bothered to change it at all that much, the Prussian model continued to this day and is still prominent all over the world.
It's cheaper.
Now, logically speaking, most people should understand math really well, right? Because, after all, math has one right answer. Same answer that's being told to 30 children at a time, which sounds like it should make it the easiest subject to learn, even in a classroom. So, why does it suck? The Prussian school has one major flaw, out of many. The first one is math stacks. Unlike almost every other subject, math punishes knowledge gaps. What I mean is, if you're studying history, you can know about World War II pretty thoroughly without knowing about the French Revolution. You can read about what Mustache Man did without knowing about his anime drawer, and you'd probably still pass your history lesson. But in math, if you don't fully understand one concept, it will carry over to the next one. If you don't understand what the equal sign means, for example, you'll suffer the whole time you're learning variable. And that compounds with yet another flaw, building right on the first one of the Prussian school model, which is lack of time and the erasure of individuality. In other words, the Prussian model simply doesn't have the time or the means to perfectly explain a concept to you until you fully understand it, which includes mathematical concept that you didn't fully understand. Basically, it means that even if you would have been a math whiz, ironically, a teacher does not have the time to get stuck on teaching something you don't understand if it stalls the whole classroom. And in case you're wondering, you can, in fact, take twice, even 4 times as long to learn a concept as the kid next to you, but understand it more deeply once you, understand it. Something that most teachers just cannot fathom even today, that slow learners can be as good as the rest of the class if they just spent more time teaching and explaining to them. So they just throw more homework at you until you get it. Now, I bet you're probably thinking that you sucked at math at every grade, even when someone tried to explain. After all, there was probably a new teacher at some point, right? New setting, maybe there's a kid there willing to help you learn, people more patient, but you still sucked at it, and you probably thought that you're just absolutely terrible at math. This is simply not true. Most of the time, you not understanding algebra just means you missed something tiny back at elementary school. Me, for example, if someone asked me exactly when did I stop understanding math, I'd say basic addition. I did not know that if 5 plus 7 on a test sheet is too hard, I could just do 5 plus 5 plus 2 instead. And if that's too hard, 5 plus 1 plus 1 instead. I did not know you could take every number apart if it's too scary big. No one taught me you could do that. The teacher wrote a few exercises on the board that were already decomposed, and me as a kid thought, okay, so she wants me to solve these specific ones like that, specifically. I did not know I could use it everywhere, even when it wasn't required of me. And why would I even need to? I didn't know that if you can't calculate 8 times 6, you could calculate 8 times 3 plus 8 times 3 instead, since multiplication is basically just addition but shortened. Even something terrifying like 400 times 221, I did not know I could just write that and then add all of them together. The moment I did, I could do that scary looking calculation in my head. And if even that's too much, you could break it down even further. There's no limit to how far you can go with it. Notice how a simple rule like taking numbers apart compounds from basic addition to complex multiplication. And if you don't understand what I'm saying right now, that's totally fine. Our brains are different. The things we understand are different. This is what lack of individuality actually means. The Prussian model does not account for children's brains being different. Try one math exercise a day, even if it's a simple one. And maybe one day you'll do some math in your head, smile, and realize the dumb kid never existed. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a pleasant day.